we'd always focus on our vulnerable population. So, in particular, those who are elderly, the youngest of us as well, and those, as you correctly said, those who are doing work out in the open air during the hours where the sun is at its most severe as well. I think my take-home message is that we all need to respect the sun regardless of age, though, because already I've seen a few patients who come in with basically what is described as heat exhaustion with sunburn as well, and I think we're just not taking basic precautions, which are quite easy to do. And so in terms of basic precautions, as I said, respect the sun. So we can try and stay out of the sun or try and stick to shaded areas during the time where the sun is most severe. So typically that would be between the hours of about 12 and 3 o'clock. Obviously it will vary from day to day as well. The good thing is in Gibraltar, although it is quite built up, there are lots and lots of shaded areas as well. So we know that the temperature differential, according to studies from around the world in built-up areas, underneath trees and canopy linings in built-up cities, we know the temperature can be about 6 or 7 degrees cooler than just being exposed out in the sun, out in the concrete, really. And so we also need to take regular breaks. If for example, if you are walking long distances, even from the airport to here today, can seem a lot longer than it usually is, I'm sure.
Climate change is a phenomenon that it's very apparent, and it's globally having an effect, particularly in the recent days with the recent heat wave. Cerberus, I think they've named it, and we're having the next one called Sharon. I'm sure Chris can correct me on that one. But we've seen, the records have been tumbling around the world. Northeast Atlantic, Bay of Biscay, China have recently broken their records, Rome. And, these extreme heat events are, now becoming our new normal. We've heard that phrase, during COVID, but certainly in terms of climate change, this is our new normal. The climate crisis is real, and what we're seeing is, so there's one thing I'd like to talk about in particular is the El Nino Southern Oscillation, and that has a massive impact in terms of effects around the globe, certainly in the Northeast Atlantic, where we're seeing the Northeast Atlantic Oscillation. And if I may use the analogy where you've got a little boy and a girl on a seesaw and at the fulcrum, and that's the normal oscillation. With climate change, you're making that oscillation even greater. So we're seeing these extreme heat events. And what we're seeing in particular are marine heat waves, which is analogous to heat waves on land. And we're certainly seeing there's very good evidence of impacts in the marine coastal areas. So kelp, for example, are declining, and soft corals that we have here in Gibraltar. And there's a good group in Barcelona that are looking at the health of these corals, as we have done here, and saying very, very strong impacts on, and these corals are dying out, and they're slow-growing organisms.